Hi everyone, you are on the Lemon Brick Bot channel, and today we will be playing 3D Sprunki RP in Roblox. Today we will look at different Sprunki. We will evaluate how the animations of these Sprunki look like. Here you can see there are a lot of different Sprunki. If you also like Sprunki, then put a like and subscribe. And also write in the comments which Sprunki is your favorite. Let's get started. The first Sprunki is a silver-colored clucker. He has a crash cymbal from a drum set on his head. And it makes the sound of a crash cymbal. Sounds good. And also animation of how the crash cymbal hits his head to make a sound, it looks funny. Let's see what happened to this Sprunki next. Now Clucker is missing half his skull and the drum is nailing his eyes. It looks really horrible and scary. Plus the pitiful expression on his face adds to the creepiness of this Sprunki. Now let's take a look at Rata. This red Sprunki beatboxer because he makes a drum sound with his mouth. A simple enough sound, but very necessary for music. Let's take a look at what Rata has become. This Rata has a skull instead of half a face, as well as the bottom part ripped off and of course rope wrapped around it. And he also makes a sound with his mouth, but now it's a very deep thump. It's like it's not even a drum, it's like a hammer hitting iron in some basement. Next, Jevin. He's wearing a hoodie and making a chorus sound. Sounds good, but I'm more interested in what sound he makes in the second phase.
Hello, would you like to catch up with us right now? This fun time. Hello, would you like
His face is now covered in darkness, even though it's sunny now. Now his voice is even more like choral music from a multitude of people. Next up is Simon. I really like the sound he makes, it's like music from old 8-bit games. In the second form, he has a very wide, not natural smile and his eyes are either closed or not there at all. It's not very clear. The sound is also like from an 8-bit old game, only now it's like it's faster and with a bit of static. Next Oren, he has some cool headphones. He also looks like a really chill guy. And he's just making a drum sound with his mouth. I think it's been done before. But in the second form, he no longer looks like a chill guy, but a very creepy monster with his chest bones looking outward, and now he no longer makes sound with his mouth, but with his open heart. It looks really scary. Next is Garnold. It's a robot with a display instead of eyes. And this display has a cool animation. And Garnold itself makes electronic sounds, which reminds of old games. But the sound is more modern than that of Simon. In the second form, its display is broken and an eye peeks out of the hole. It looks like this Sprunki isn't a robot at all. He also has a creepy mouth. And it makes a sound when it twitches its eye. This music sounds like a xylophone. Now look at the Sprunki whose name is Brud. He's just got a steel bucket on his head. And he makes a sound with his mouth, like someone's hitting a little hammer inside that bucket. In the second form, the bucket on his head is gone and half of his head, also gone. It has been bitten off as if it were M and Ms. The body is also a little bit bitten off and the ribs are sticking out. And his sound is more electronic and noisy. Next, Sprunki with the hard to pronounce name OXCX. He looks like a big coffee drinker, and his sound is just 3 hits on the hi-hat with a very big pause. In the second form, his jaw looked like the jaw of some monster, and his lower body turned brown, as if he was covered in mud. And the sound he makes is like some kind of interference. He also makes it with a big pause. Now Mr. Sun. He looks like a regular sun with a face. A very happy and smiling sun. And the music he makes sounds like the soundtrack to some children's show. It's a very cheerful song. And in the second form, instead of a face, he now has one big eye. It's as if Mr. Sun has been transformed from a sun into an eyeball. And that eye keeps twitching in different directions. And instead of cheerful music, there's a disturbing piano melody. The next Sprunki is Wenda. This Sprunki looks like a cat. It looks very cute, and the sound it makes is like a crowd cheer. In phase 2, she has a very wide smile and blood on her face and body. But it doesn't appear to be her blood. She's making music that sounds like it's coming out of a wheezing speaker. Not the scariest Sprunki, but creepy. This next Mr. Tree is kind of like Mr. Sun. It's a cheerful tree with a face. It makes an organ sound like it's being played in church. It's a little ominous, but it's a fun tune. In the second phase, Mr. Tree becomes black and white. And instead of a face, he has a missing person's notice. And the music is very disturbing. So that's all the Sprunki for today. If you'd like to see a sequel, please post it in the comments. And also, if you've seen up to this point, put a like and subscribe, it will help me a lot. Bye bye.